first answer now from Republican Congressman James Lankford of Oklahoma, who is also a House Budget Committee member and joins us now to talk about the president's budget. $200,000 a year, somebody makes that. Do you consider that, Congressman, to be, quote-unquote, rich?
No, I think a lot of people would consider that rich if they make less than that. But currently the definition of rich is someone who makes more than me. And so that's just moving number that's all over the place.
Well, do you have a would you say, if you double it or triple, say if someone makes $500,000, are they rich? Do you put a number on it at all or no?
No, I don't, because in America, I want people to make as much money as they possibly can. That's a good thing. It helps everything in the economy for people to be able to engage and to have an incentive to say, why shouldn't someone who's making this amount of money be able to grow and try to make a little more and make a little more and make a little more? It helps their family, it helps their communities, helps their economy. So I don't see what the issue is on this.
Let me ask you a little bit about the budget. Now, I assume you're going to have issues with it, and Peter talked about some of the Republican issues already that people have brought up. Now, if the president's making an argument for this, he's basically going to say, hey, listen, we can't be putting in huge austerity measures now like they're doing over, say, in Europe because they have no choice. We do have a choice. We don't want to do that now. We want to spend on things that we think are important. Just saying what his argument, I'm sure, would be, whether it's infrastructure, education, whatever the case may be. And down the line, we need to cut the deficit. So I'm going to say $4 trillion in cuts over 10 years. So on the surface, that makes some logical sense, or maybe it doesn't.
It doesn't make logical sense, actually. It's the same argument that he's made year after year after year, saying next year, next year, next year, next year. It's this constant focus on we can't cut spending now. What we need to do is raise taxes now. But we can't cut spending now. We need to do more stimulus spending than ever. This is the same president that just a few years ago said he's going to cut the deficit in half. Actually, what he's done is he's either doubled or tripled President Bush's highest deficit number that he had during his entire 8 years. Every single year he's been president, President Obama has either doubled or tripled that highest deficit total we had during the Bush administration.
Let me use our other top story
so
just as an example.
You can't just keep saying next year.
An example, I would say, the other top story we're covering today, we're going to talk more about it in detail in a moment, is Greece. And they're rioting in the streets of Greece, and they've had to cut there. They've been forced. Their hand has been forced. Here in this country, we can borrow for 10 years and pay less than 10%. So people that are on the president's side will say, but we're not forced to do that yet. We have a little more leeway. We don't have this slow growth environment that they have in Europe. And if we spend a little bit, maybe we'll get some economic growth in return. What do you say to that argument?
Sure. I say Greece is a good example of a very predictable debt crisis that's coming to the United States. We can either wait until that strikes us, until our creditors say, no, we're going to raise your interest rates. We're not going to give you credit at the same level we gave you before because you're already well over 100% debt to GDP. When we begin to reach Greece levels of debt to GDP, then they'll start raising our interest rates. There'll be nothing we can do about it. Then we're forced in those austerity methods. Right now is the time to do it. We know what's coming. This is a predictable debt crisis. Let's solve it now. Politics is a horrible, horrible way to do things. They press all the way to the end, and when they have to do it, they do it. When we're dealing with Medicare that's supposed to go insolvent by 2018, when we have 100% of debt to GDP right now, this is a moment that we should do it now when we can actually do real planning and take the 10 years rather than have to do rapid cuts like Greece has to do now.
All right, Congressman James Lankford, it's always nice to have you on. Thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.
You bet. Glad to help.